a stopgap, and that opened up a new well of partnership with both corporate organizations and NGOs. The Nigeria element is that making the learning have local context. If my child is doing an exam and they ask him choose the odd one out, and orchard is there, he most likely would not know what it is, because the examples are made from people that those examples were relevant to that context. So that's where the Nigeria is, that we are teaching Nigerian child, even though we are now moving to Africa, but we are teaching the child, let's use the examples that are local. So when I'm going to give an example in math, or when I'm going to give an example in science or in English, I'm going to first of all ensure that that example is relevant, that the child understands what it means without too much of an effort. I think the other part of it is that I just want us to be proud of who we are. Countries are not perfect, to be honest. When you think about them, they're not perfect, but they promote themselves. They promote the good part of it. I told someone that I remember the first time that I went to Dubai. I was amazed that Dubai had a place that looked like Adeniji Adele inside Lagos Island. Because when they're promoting it, they don't go about promoting all the bad parts of it. And that's really what I wanted to do as well. I wanted to promote to the next generation the good things about Nigeria. It's not all bad news. So we have this game called Who Wants to Be a Brainiac? And I will ask you, who's the richest man in Africa? He's a Nigerian. The country that scored the first gold Olympic in football, in boxing, they were Nigerians. Who is the first person to write a novel? It was a Nigerian. So there's that thing of being proud of who you are. It's not all bad stories. And I noticed a lot of other countries do. They promote, that's why there's the American dream. So for us, it's promoting things that are Nigerian. We also want the values. When we look at Nigeria today, I'm saying, what are the things that can help us change? There's also our value system. Let a child be ethical. Let a child, want to be responsible. Let a child understand the relevant values for, building our nation building, because this is where we, so to speak, have our bread and butter. And so we need to build up. So I think that those are all the Nigeria elements of the Nigeria kids. We need to build our country. I'm into nation building. I might not go out and, wave a flag and join the riot, but I'm saying I can put those values and that, patriotism in the next generation through all that we do. So they see things all around them that denotes their country and they're proud of it.
Teaching online takes creativity. Online environments can be challenging to master at first, but with a little effort and time, your students will be getting the best experience possible. With the home environment being surrounded by potential distractions, keeping students engaged, motivated, and interested in their lessons can be one of the biggest challenges online teachers face. Teaching online requires you to use completely different skill sets compared to those used in teaching in person, and it's also important to keep the process as fun as possible. The following are some tips that will guide you in making learning fun for children through digital content. 1. Present your best online self. If your students can see you via a webcam, make sure that not only do you look presentable, but the location that you're in does too. A simple background works best to eliminate any distractions. Also, your visual materials must be top-notch. Make sure your slides look clean and clear, and any videos you use are of good quality. Try changing the tone of your voice to introduce new activities or mix up the tempo of your class. Practice your storytelling skills and offer praise out loud. This can make a huge difference in encouraging your students. Also make sure that any audio clips you plan to use are of good quality. Number 2, use technology to your advantage. Teaching online comes with its challenges, but it also puts a whole load of really cool tools at your fingertips. Whether you use whiteboards, pointers, virtual games, text editors, drawing tools, file editors, breakout rooms, or screen sharing tools, you can use the technology you have to add variety to your lessons and keep students on their toes. Number 3, find what inspires your students. The good news is, just like in any face-to-face classroom, the real key to getting your online students involved is to find out what inspires them and give them reason to be engaged in the classroom. Number 4, keep it interactive. In a face-to-face class, It's typical to give students some quiet reflection time to work alone or read a text. But these kinds of activities don't translate well in online classrooms. Planning activities that keep your students actively clicking, typing, or talking throughout the lesson is the way to go. You can do this by asking lots of questions, including games, and making sure learners have to physically do things like use drawing tools or type in the dialog boxes. Number 5, break down the lesson. It's a good idea to keep a fast pace and break down information into small, easily digestible chunks. This means to steer clear of lengthy explanations and slides with too much text.
That thing of the grass is always greener on the other side. I have a lot of people that have relocated, that's jackpot, so to speak. But they tell you the truth. They tell you how hard it is. They tell you the fact that yes, they will never be looked on for the promotion because they are black skinned. They have the passport. But in the end, when we go to our offices, it's not you don't actually bring out your passport, let me know what country you're from. It's your skin color that immediately tells you where you're from, so to speak. So it means that the grass greener on the other side, it's grass greener on the other side with commas. Meanwhile, I know people here in Nigeria that have done awesome things. I know people that have a lot of, grass to riches stories that have made it in this country. So for me, I'm like, we can make it here. It's tough. Yes, it's tough, but it's not easy anywhere else. It's not easy anywhere else. It's tough everywhere else. But people that make it against the odds. I mean, look at the story of Tyler Perry. He's in the same great American, but when you listen to his story, it's a story of against the odds. So Nigeria too is a story of against the odds, to be honest. But are people making it? Yes, people are making it. We have outliers. We have the outliers of the likes of Dangote. But we have other people that, started. Look at the banks. When I was growing up, it was only First Bank and Union Bank. Then a new generation of people came and built banks. Look at telecoms. When I started work, I was so junior, I didn't have a mobile phone. Even when mobile phones came out, because it was 30K. But look at it now. So people are building things in Nigeria, making a difference, building the economy. All sector is now not the only major thing. Financial sector is reigning, telecoms is reigning, because people stayed here to build. And that's what I believe, that if each of us take our own corner and build, then there's hope for this country. If we all run away, then but this is the place where we are home. This is the place where we are first-class citizens all the time. This is where your money matters when you've arrived. Do you understand? With no comma. So let's stay and build it. I believe that if we stay, we build it, it will be a Nigeria that we're proud of. Like I said, when you start, it's tough. You need to start and say, what do I need? The things I don't need money for. So like I said, when I started, there was the one storage in our house that I sorted out all the stuff, through all the things, just got 2 tables and chairs and started that way because I didn't want to pay rent. So even when I started renting, so this place that I rented, the first year, because we actually live in the front part of our house, so my office is at the back. The first year, I told my husband, I'm not going to pay you no rental. So what's my business? He says, no, he's lost income. I said, that's your business. Your investment in it. So that was, but I said I wanted to be an ethical business. I want to do everything right. So I found a list of all the things I need to do. I found out about, payee. I have to pay, you have to pay your taxes. So I said, okay, how do, in terms of taxes, I have to do pension. When I said, yeah, pension. When I just wanted to pay the salaries, I found that I had to business develop. So I think what I did, like I said, you have to really have financial skills. I went and said, what's in terms of the taxes? Spoke to a friend of mine that's a tax consultant and said, in terms of structuring the salary, how can I structure the salary such that I'm adhere to all the things, but we are paying that. The pension, what do I need to do? So she then told me how we needed to structure the salary, because pension is based on a particular amount and your taxes as well. So, that's the first thing. So you need to know all that your business, that's what I'm just saying, in terms of registering your company, when we first started, our company was a business name. So we just registered the business name first. And then when you register the business name, it means that there's some taxes you don't have to pay. But as you grow as a business, to be able to do business with other people, to get investors, then you have to transition. So you need people to help you. That's the point I'm very. Don't go for anyhow. My friend was a consultant, tax consultant, PwC. I'm not. So when I need expert advice, I don't penny pinch. I might not be able to pay. Do you understand? Or that we need to do it for you. Oh, Titi is just starting out. So you need to find out those factors. This is Titi Adeosi, and our app, Naija Kit, is 100% Naija made.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
Now 500 naira they collect them.
If you no talk, then go beat you.
Now 2,500 they pay.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. On the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
Hello and welcome. I am Destiny Momo. This is News Update. The first 2 days of the protests were largely peaceful, but there were pockets of violence in some places. After 2 days of demonstrations across the country, protesters have again gathered in Lagos and Port Harcourt in Nigeria's coastal state of Rivers State as they continue to push for their demands. The demonstrations, which began on August 1st in several cities, are to draw attention to the challenges facing Nigerians, with inflation figures reaching 34%, making the cost of basic items beyond the reach of millions of households. Although authorities, including religious bodies, leaders had appealed to the demonstrators to shelve their protest after 2 days. As early as 8 a.m., placard-wielding youths hit the streets in Lagos and Port Harcourt. And also, men of the Nigerian police on Saturday opened fire on protesters and journalists at the MKO Abiola Stadium in Abuja during the End Hunger protest. Reports say protesters, mostly youth, had gathered in front of the stadium for the day 3 of the 10-day protest to end bad governance in Nigeria. The heavily armed men who arrived at the venue around 11:45 a.m. ordered them to leave. Following their refusal to obey the order, the policemen opened fire on the protesters, including journalists, at the venue. More to come. And the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has called on President Bola Tinubu to address Nigerians amidst the ongoing End Bad Governance nationwide protests, saying his silence was worrisome and had worsened agitations. A statement released by the National Publicity Secretary of the party, Debo Ologunagba, on Saturday urged the president to urgently address the nation on steps to reduce prices of petroleum products, curb naira free fall, and other biting economic issues. The APC government is insensitive to the feelings of the citizens and the overall sorry state of affairs in the nation, according to the PDP. And the party insists that with a deft, transparent and innovative management of resources, economic potentials, comparative advantage and refining capacity, petrol should not sell more than 200 naira per litre in Nigeria, especially with a strategic investment in gas production. And meanwhile, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has praised the ongoing nationwide protest against economic hardship in Nigeria, urging the government to heed the people's voices and demonstrate a sincere commitment to addressing their demands. Abubakar praised the protesters for their restraint and dedication, stating that they have conducted themselves with admirable peace. He also urged security agencies to identify and isolate minority elements resorting to violence and looting. Abubakar called for more Nigerians to show solidarity and support the peaceful protest, urging the government to heed the people's voices and act with integrity and urgency. He also called for the police to engage more professionally in managing the protest and refrain from molestation of journalists. And meanwhile, Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun has condemned the mass uprising, looting, destruction of properties and attempts to take over government buildings on Thursday by some individuals protesting against the hardship under President Bola Tinubu's administration. Egbetokun would disclose these during a live broadcast in response to the protest, ordered all police units to be on red alert to ensure public safety. He said the events that took place in major cities were mass uprising and looting, not protests.
Regrettably, events in some major cities today show that what was being instigated was mass uprising and looting, not protest. Those who were in the forefront of promoting the idea of the protest were not around to lead it. Hoodlums have been let loose on innocent Nigerians and their hard-earned businesses and property looted and destroyed. The motive of the rioters was basically two: loot and destroy both private and government property. The destruction so far has been mind-boggling. There have been destruction in Kano, Borno, Yobe, Kaduna, Gombe, Bauchi, FCT, Abuja, Niger, and Jigawa. Police stations have been destroyed. There have been attempts to take over government houses, looting of government infrastructures. Several warehouses and shops so far have been looted and in several instances completely destroyed. In places like FCT, Kaduna, Kano, and Gombe, among others, we recorded incidents of unprovoked attacks on our security personnel, where one policeman has been reported murdered and others seriously injured. In the light of the current situation, the Nigerian Police Force has placed all units on red alert. Our officers are fully mobilized and prepared to respond swiftly and decisively to any further threats to public safety and order. We remain committed and resolute to protecting lives and property and ensuring that law and order are maintained across the nation. Groups who are hiding under the guise of exercise of a right provided in the Constitution to destabilize the country should also remember that the same Constitution imposed on them the duty to obey the laws of the land and respect the rights of other citizens. The police is equipped to respond appropriately to the unfolding situations and will get assistance from other security agencies, including the military, if the need arises.
And meanwhile, Nyesom Wike, Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, says security agencies have identified a senator who sponsored protests in the nation's capital. Speaking after a Security Council meeting in Abuja, Wike said the unnamed senator provided food for the protesters.
We are going to say clearly that one of the reasons government are appealing to to carry protest that we believe some miscreants will take advantage and cause men and cause destruction of property within their state. See what happened in most of the states today. Kano is there, Kaduna is there. See what happened in Bauchi. We do. And that's why we say, look, we are aware. You have said this wants to be resolved. Now, look at the loss of lives in Kano. See what happened in Kano. And for the vigilante security agencies, and such a thing happens in their city, what would you think people will say? You may not have fully discussed, may not have succeeded what they wanted to do, carry out what they wanted to carry out. And we have intelligence that, look, they are coming up tomorrow to destroy property that would lead to loss of life. The security agencies would not allow every protester, please go to the Moshood Abiola cell and do your protest. Now, we also have intelligence that a senator have to advise on security agencies to lead some of them to go and provide food to the protesters. That is sponsorship. A senator providing food for protesters. I have a good time the security agencies will invite the senator and find out how you will be sponsoring this kind of against the government of.
And now Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum has lifted the curfew imposed in the aftermath of the Kaworu bomb blast that resulted in the death of 16 people and left several others critically injured. The government on Friday temporarily relaxed the curfew to allow Muslims observe the Friday Jumat prayers, making the announcement in a statewide broadcast while consoling the families of the Kaworu bomb blast attack. The governor said it was necessary to impose the curfew to avoid Boko Haram elements taking advantage to create havoc in the state. And moving on to other parts of Africa, police in Somalia said Saturday that 32 people died and 63 others were wounded in an attack on a beach hotel in the capital, Mogadishu. The previous evening, Al-Qaeda's East Africa affiliate Al-Shabaab said through its radio that its fighters carried out the attack. Police spokesperson Major Abdel Fattah Adan Hassan told journalists that one soldier was killed in the attack and that the rest were civilians. Another soldier was also wounded in the attack, Hassan said, as witnesses reported an explosion followed by gunfire. From news outside Africa, Donald Trump, a candidate for the Republican Party's presidential nomination, announced late on Friday that he had reached a deal with Fox to face off against Democratic Vice President Kamala Harris on September 4. According to his words, I have come to an agreement with Fox News to have a debate with Kamala Harris on Wednesday, September 4th. Trump posted on his Truth social account, though it wasn't clear right away if Kamala Harris had consented to the debate. And I'm moving on to business news. The Naira recorded a significant depreciation against the dollar in a single day at the foreign exchange market to end the week on a negative note amid the ongoing hardship protests by Nigerians. FMDQ data showed that the Naira depreciated to 1,617 Naira.08 per dollar on Friday from 1,570 Naira exchange on Thursday, losing 47.08 Naira. Similarly, on the black market, the Naira weakened to 1,610 Naira per dollar on Friday from 1,600 exchanged the previous day. A Bureau de Change operator in Wuse's Zone 4, Dayabu Ashiru, said that they buy at 1,610 Naira per dollar on Friday evening from 1,600 Naira on Thursday, when offices closed due to the hardship protest. And this has rolled back the two consecutive gains the Naira recorded on Wednesday and Thursday. And this means that the currency has failed to stabilize despite the Central Bank of Nigeria's policy interventions in the past month. And now in sports news, a national indoor and outdoor record holder in women's high jump, Temitope Adesina, failed to qualify for the women's high jump final after finishing 19th in the overall standings. Making her Olympics debut, Adesina opened her competition by scaling the 1.83 mark easily on her next height at 1.88. She failed on her first attempt but got the job done on her second attempt at 1.92. She missed all Her attempt at her Paris 2024 Olympics adventure ended in qualifying round. Additional is a two-time silver medalist at the African Championship from 2022 to 2024, as well as a two-time national title winner. That's the news update. For more stories, please follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. You can also view us from Limex on Limex.tv and Glow TV apps anywhere in the world. I am Destiny Momo. Many thanks for watching.
I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God.
May 29, 2023, President Bola Tinubu assumed office with an announcement that had grave impact on the people. Subsidy is gone. The president exclaimed during his inaugural address at the Eagle Square, Abuja, shortly after he was sworn in as the 16th president of the country. He also promised to lead the country with compassion and amity towards all.
Unfortunately, the budget that I've glimpsed before I assume office and what I've heard is that no provision is there for fuel subsidy. So fuel subsidy is gone.
Despite the assurance by the president's team that the subsidy removal was not immediate, the announcement sparked reactions across the country. As soon as the decision was made, fuel queues popped up across the country as most filling stations quickly saw an opportunity to profiteer of the situation. As expected, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPCL) announced an upward review of its fuel prices across filling stations in the country, setting the stage for a nationwide increase in fuel prices. Also, at the dawn of this administration, the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) abolished the country's multiple exchange rate system and effectively floated the naira. The nation's currency had seen a free fall ever since. Like every other Nigerian, this civil servant is struggling to eke out a livelihood. These decisions by the government couldn't have come at the worst time, when he is struggling with high inflation, unemployment and poverty. Even the rich are not left out.
Honestly speaking, I think in Nigeria right now, anyone that tells you that is not feeling the pain is lying to you. Cost of living is very expensive in the market. All the landlord has added money for their rent. Transportation is not like before. So Nigeria is too healthy.
It doesn't be easy. The high rack of fare, feeding, no matter how, no matter what, we will survive.
In the wake of all of this, experts say the impact of the subsidy removal on the cost of living among Nigerians is expected to be significant and negative, at least in the short term. According to figures by the National Bureau of Statistics, the inflation rate could rise to 30% by December. Professor Christopher Imomolen is a serial entrepreneur. He speaks of how businesses have been impacted negatively.
And would have been done in a way that, despite the fact that subsidy needs to be removed, because we cannot run an economy where a large chunk of our revenue is being used to pay subsidies, and these subsidies has a kind of racketeering that is not even helping the economy. So if we are going to, which we must do, it must be done in a way that it does not largely affect the economy, which we currently see today. Inflation rate is at the highest rate ever. It also have a ripple effect even in the exchange rate. We see how the exchange FX has shoot up tremendously just in the space of 6 months. We've had the kind of increment that we've not had since 1960. And this has period effects just from one commodity which the nation is largely dependent on. I believe that before we can totally lift subsidy from the PMS, we must also ensure that we provide power, we provide alternative source of energy for the people. The world today is embracing green economy. It's not something that will happen in the space of 5 years. It will take a lot of time, but we must gradually do that. Everybody have their leadership style. So, but of course, we've seen the ripple effect of that decision on the economy. So we can at this point say that it was not really a good idea that was announced at that time it was announced. I felt that cabinet should have been drawn up because you need people to help implement policies. Your team, the team should have been on ground. As at that time, there was no ministers, there was no anybody on ground, and just that same day it was announced. It so happened so that all stations were shut down. It was very harsh. And looking at the fact that we are coming out from a very bad situation where Naira was scarce, people could not have access to Naira, and immediately you were going into, at a time when people were looking for hope, where people were seeking to say, okay, maybe this person could be the Messiah to rescue us from. So that's, it's obvious. So it's not, it's obvious that that decision at that time was not too good to the economy. It should have been done at the time where you would have consulted, and you cannot consult as a president, and you would have gone through your team, and that would have been done through after you have set up at least to a large extent your team inaugurated them. Then immediately you start running.
Mukhtar Mohammed is an international finance and economic analyst. Although he supports the removal of fuel subsidy, he sheds light on how the Naira float and recent policies are affecting the economy.
You just tell them that they pay high duty for bringing in those costs of those goods and services. That could encourage them to begin to think of establishing it here in Nigeria. Instead of you telling them you're banned, they'll find other ways to gain FX. And most of these 41 banned items are items that Nigerians generally want to make use of. So you need to also look at that also. So it all depends on the implementation of this policy.
As it stands, the elimination of fuel subsidy has brought both challenges and opportunities. It has led to a 150 to 200% surge in fuel cost. That is about 500 to 600 naira across the country. That is per litre. Food inflation is also skyrocketing.
It's not cheap at all. Though. Many people are suffering. To even get the money to buy food is a problem. And the market also now is very expensive. We are not making it at all. Even you that are selling it, there's no gain on the market these days.
Small and medium-sized enterprises are facing difficulties in accessing affordable power.
Come and tell us, how much did you buy it? How much are you buying it for?
Residents say they cannot afford even alternatives as they are disillusioned by the hack in liquefied petroleum gas, LPG.
We don't really, they should try and help us. The thing is tough, everywhere is hard, but they should at least gas, It's what we survive with, we cook with it, so they should try and help us.
So what alternative do you think you will use outside of gas?
Charcoal stove, that's the alternative for me, because here you cannot use firewood inside your house.
The gas 1 kg is 900. So before we are buying it, is it 350? Yeah, so it is our cost now, so I think they should help us to reduce it.
As the debate on the merit and demerit of fuel subsidy removal and Naira float continues, how are ordinary Nigerians finding ways to mitigate the impact of these policies on their daily lives? While some have reduced unnecessary trips, others have adjusted their budget and spending habits.
We had to do away with so many things and just do with basic needs, and that is food, water, go and sleep. No unnecessary outings, nothing, because the pocket go tell you now.
The food matter, now that one was pass. Because before, how much be the week of rice? Not be 120. Now we dey buy at 1,900. 1,900. Just consider the person that get 4 children now. How you want to survive? I beg. Now beg we dey beg them. Make them help us so. This thing too much. Too much. Ororo, ma'am, rice, everything. Wetin happen? Wetin we do them? Make them help us. No smile, nobody dey smile. As I dey talk to you now, I dey vex. Yo, because e no even easy. No water, no light. Fuel wey we dey even dey manage to buy, we no fit buy am. Everything just dey stand still for this Nigeria.
It's not been easy. In fact, it's only by the mercy of God that people are being sustained now. What you buy today, tomorrow it has added. What you buy this morning, by 2 hours time, the price has skyrocketed. In fact, we don't know who to cry to. We are only at the mercy of God now. Our children cannot feed well. Mothers are going hungry because of the children. Because when it's not enough, you have to feed your children first. We don't know who to cry to. All we are begging is that God should come to our intervention.
Persistent inflationary pressures in the economy have accelerated poverty in the country, with purchasing power continuing to slump over the past few months. As a measure to address these difficulties, the federal government had announced a 5 billion naira palliative for each state, including the Federal Capital Territory, to cushion the impact of the removal of subsidy. The fund was shared in the ratio of 52 to 48%. Experts are voicing out their opinions on the workability.
We spoke about student loan. We said September. Nobody's saying student loan. We talk about CNG. So everything is just like ghosts. It's as if nothing is happening. And when people start talking, it's look as if maybe we're not against government. We must just talk so that this country will grow. We want this government to succeed. And this is what we are saying now. If everybody just keep quiet and everybody is nodding their head, no, you are doing the best, and this country will fail and every one of us fail. So government needs to start looking at the right thing to do, and the people need to also adjust.
Going forward, here are some suggestions by experts on how to cope with fuel subsidy removal in the country. Reduce dependence on petrol-powered generators. Invest in alternative energy sources like solar panels, inverters or batteries. These can provide electricity and reduce reliance on fuel-powered generators. Use energy-efficient appliances and bulbs to minimize electricity consumption. Adopt energy-saving habits such as turning off lights, fans and electronics when not in use. Use public transportation or carpooling. Utilize public transportation options like buses or trains, which are generally more cost-effective than driving private vehicles. Consider carpooling with colleagues, neighbors or friends who travel similar routes. This helps share fuel costs and reduces traffic congestion. Plan your trips and errands ahead of time. Make a list of places you need to visit and tasks you need to complete. Combining errands into a single trip minimizes fuel usage. Utilize online shopping and delivery services for groceries, food and other items to reduce the need for physical trips. Adjust your budget and spending habits. Review your income and expenses, identifying areas where you can cut down or save money. Prioritize essential expenses and reduce discretionary spending. Consider taking up a side hustle or exploring additional sources of income to supplement your budget. Minimize air conditioning usage and explore natural ventilation options. Insulate your home to retain heat during cooler months and reduce the need for excessive heating. Make conscious efforts to conserve water and electricity, reducing associated costs. Explore fuel-efficient transportation alternatives. Optimize driving habits by maintaining proper tire pressure. Avoid rapid acceleration or braking, and keeping vehicle maintenance up to date. These can improve fuel efficiency. Engage in advocacy and dialogue. Participate in discussions with policymakers, community leaders, and relevant organizations to voice concerns and propose sustainable solutions. Advocate for policies that promote renewable energy sources and support initiatives aimed at reducing reliance on fossil fuels. Avoid long and unnecessary commutes. Optimize your travel routes to minimize distance and time spent on the road. Consider remote work or flexible work arrangements, if possible, to reduce the frequency of commuting. For shorter distances, consider using bicycles as a mode of transportation. Cycling is not only cost-effective, but also promotes physical fitness and reduces carbon emissions. Invest in a sturdy bicycle, proper safety gear and accessories like bike locks and lights to ensure a safe riding experience. Familiarize yourself with bike lanes, paths, and safe routes in your area. And remember to take a walk. Walking will save your life.
Hello and welcome to the Literary Bar. It's another interesting week and I'm excited to be here with you. Remember, I'm looking forward to having you join me here in the studio. It's been a difficult week for Nigerians in general, the art world, the music world, but most of all, the loss of our elegant stallion, Onyeka Onwenu, is such a devastating loss, and we all met this news with shock. But Onyeka Onwenu has been such a wonderful gift to Nigerian music industry, to the art world generally. She's been a politician, a journalist, and she's an author, which is why it's also very, very dear to the Literary Bar. And that's why we are giving her a very special call out, because she's one of us. She's so beloved. Onyeka Onwenu has given us so many songs of which has resonated with us, from Iyo Gogo to Ekwe, but significantly, her album titled, the song One Love, is such an endearing music that more than anything resonates with us even at this time. Onyeka Onwenu, popularly called the Elegant Stallion, was so graceful and elegant in her delivery, in her presentation, that if she could have written the script of her life, she would have done it this way, leaving the stage with this amazing performance that she gave at the event where, sadly, she slumped and eventually lost her life. So the Elegant Stallion, who gave us One Love, at this time where Nigeria is not even sure where it's going, Onyeka's passing also calls to mind this song that she hopes will unite us more than anything. I remember the video of One Love where people were fighting and all that. And even in the lyrics, she says, we don't need all of this, no more fighting, let's live in peace. So I'm calling on anyone in loving memory of Onyeka, let us come together in one love and let this that she has preached with her life and her music be the most important lyric or soundtrack to the event as it's unfolding right now in Nigeria. So it is with so much love that I say, thank you, Onyeka Onwenu, for being the amazing legend that you have been. Thank you for the music and thank you for the memories. Good night, Elegant Stallion. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll go into the book proper. Before I go into the book selection and poetry for this week, I want to share a bit about a conversation I had with my friend Baba. Baba is an elderly but very special friend of mine. Baba told me that words were the sole currency of our human existence. The words we say to people and the words we use with ourselves. Ultimately, words create and shape the quality of our lives and relationships. Imagine when you hear the words, I love you, and juxtapose it with, I hate you. How will that make you feel? Over the years, men like Hitler, Pol Pot, Mobutu Sese Seko, Idi Amin have used vile and hateful rhetoric to destroy the fabric of humanity. In these modern times, rebel leaders have used divisive language to rally their supporters to unleash mayhem in their communities. Rwanda's genocide, Boko Haram's insurgency, cult clashes, political violence, and brigandage. Words also act as a soothing balm over painful experiences when we empathize and sympathize with kind and carefully chosen words. As kids, we learn the magic words, please, thank you, excuse me, and I'm sorry. These magic phrases have been the key to great friendship and relationship over the years. Do take my word for it, because when we return from this short break, I will tell you about the book Baba graciously gave me to share with you. The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz was published in 1997 and has sold over 15 million copies in the USA alone. It has been on the New York best-selling list for over a decade. It's been published in 52 languages since its first publication. Don Miguel reveals the source of self-limiting beliefs that rob us of joy and create needless suffering. Based on Toltec wisdom, the Four Agreements can rapidly transform our lives to a new experience of freedom, true happiness, and love. This book is written in a simple language and is an easy read. In these difficult times, when we suffer from mental breakdown and self-inflicted pressures to meet up with societal expectations, the Four Agreements becomes even more important as a personal guidebook to help us navigate through the murky waters of unrealistic expectations of ourselves and others. After the break, I'll read a short excerpt from this amazing book. Okay, welcome back. So now I'm going to take you through the Four Agreements that will help you to carry on with your relationship, especially your relationship with yourself. A lot of the pressures that we feel in this world is because of how we talk to ourselves. When we feel that we're not meeting up, or we have not done well, or we have failed at a particular enterprise, be it business, be it academics, we use the hardest words on ourselves, and these words tend to stick. And beyond just saying it to ourselves, when we also say terrible things to people, we have decided to embark on a journey of personal destruction and destroying other people, because the words we say to other people defines us more than we know. So the first agreement says to be impeccable with your words. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the words you speak against yourself or to gossip about other people. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. We know what we're going through at this time, and as we're trying to call on people to come out, destroy, fight, and all that, we are only hurting ourselves. If we use our words to invite people to destroy our community and other people's properties, all of us are going to live with the consequences of what we have done. In Rwanda, when they had their genocide, the Hutus and the Tutsis came together. The people who were spearheading this fight were calling their friends, their neighbors, cockroaches. They said, destroy them, they are cockroaches, they have no blood in their system. How can your wife, because she's Tutsi and you're Hutu, suddenly become a cockroach? How can your teacher, your neighbors become cockroaches just because they are fighting on the other side? And people use their words as a clarion call to destroy, to kill and maim their neighbors. Sometimes the words you send out have already gone on these errands that you cannot call back. So when you say, oh, I only said it, no, your words are impactful. Don't insult yourself just to make someone else look bad. And don't insult other people just because you want to feel better than them. When you're not impeccable with your words, it means that you have sinned, because the opposite of impeccability is peccability, and peccability means sin, to sin. So when you are impeccable with your words, you try not to sin with the words that come out of your mouth. After all, words we exchange with each other is everything that we have, from our beginning to our end. It's the words that we use that count. Communication is the lifeblood of any society. So be impeccable with your words, the things you say to people and the things you allow people to say to you. And even if they say something negative to you, you don't have to internalize it. It says more about them than about you. Don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. So somebody says you're a fool. You know that you're not foolish. Did they do any tests in your head to know if you were foolish? So why would you take that? Maybe the person is going through a really difficult time, and from the bitterness they feel in their heart, that is why they are coming up with these terrible words. Why would you take what they are saying personally? Tomorrow they'll say, hey, did I say that? I didn't know. I was just quarreling. I was just feeling upset. That's why I said it. So do not take some of the things that people do personally. After all, if somebody gives you a present and you don't want it, you say, thank you very much. Sorry, I don't want it. If somebody says something to you that is not for you, don't accept it. Just walk away. As they say in the Bible, shake your feet and just move away from those people. So don't take whatever people do personally. Their background may have been twisted, or really they have personal issues and they're just trying to project how they feel. Don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. They say when you assume, you make an ass of you and me. Do not assume, do not think that you know what someone is saying. I was at an event on Sunday and I left my phone in the car. For the next 4 or 5 hours, I didn't have my phone. And all the people who were calling me at this particular time couldn't get me. And 2 people assumed I didn't want to pick their call. I was calling you, did not pick my call. I couldn't pick your call because I did not have my phone. And I spent the next day apologizing to so many people because they assumed that I didn't want to speak to them. Why would you assume and then cause a lot of drama because you didn't get? Ask the questions. If you don't understand something, please ask. Please, can you clarify this for me? Please, I do not understand. Please, I'm uncomfortable with the words that you're using. Please, could you say it differently? But most of all, when people are going through some issues in their life, they tend to project it and truly do not assume that they are doing one or two things just because of you. The issues happening now, people are assuming the government is saying this because this. The government is assuming the people are saying this. At the end of the day, it is still a dialogue. So we need to ask and confirm some issues. And finally, it says, always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you're healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstance, simply do your best and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. One of the worst things that can happen is at the end of the day, you ask yourself, did I really give it my all? So try as much as you can to give it your best. I did the marathon this year. I did the whole 42 kilometers because I was running for the sickle cell charity. I never imagined that I would be able to do the marathon, but I practiced and I made it all the way. The first time I did it, I did only 10 kilometers. The second time I did about 26 kilometers, but this time around I did everything because I gave it my best. I knew that I was carrying the hopes and the aspirations of the charity that I was representing, which is Sickle Cell Advocacy and Management Initiative, SAMI. I knew that I was carrying their hopes and their dreams, so I gave it my best. And I'm so proud. When I got my medal, I knew that I deserved it. So that's what it means, that always do your best. At the end of this book, there's still some other chapters that tells you how to let go of the image you have of yourself. Forget all of that, this image that didn't work for you, and try to see how you can start afresh. Every day is a new opportunity. Every day you have is 24 hours for you to make it right. If you're going through certain issues, try and look for the resources, try and look for the exercises that can help you do your best. If you're a student, read a bit more. If you want to lose weight, try. The resources are out there, so we really do not have any excuse not to do our best. So I encourage everyone to take on the 4 agreements, especially now that our mental health issues is on the rise. So I urge you to get this book. It's actually by my bedside since Baba gave me this book. And thank you, Baba, for this. It is truly a wise book from a very wise friend of mine. So please go out there. I can get it online as well. So I've talked a lot, right? So I'm going to brew me some tea. So when I come back, get your cup of tea, get some wine. When I come back, we'll talk a little bit about literature, still on the same theme of peace. Thank you.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. On the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
Welcome back, and if you're just joining me, you are watching The Literary Bar, a place for the book, author, and reader, and you're just in time for some classical poetry. John Pepper Clark was born in April 6, 1935 in Kiabodo, Ijo community in Nigeria. He was a journalist, playwright, and scholar/critic. He wrote essays on African poetry. He died on the 13th of October, 2020. The Casualty is one of the most important poems that any country that has experienced war or is attempting to embrace violence should read. He describes the ravages of war, the wanton destruction of lives and properties of the Nigerian Biafran civil war, to be precise. At the end, he lets us all know that violence and carnage unleashed during wars, insurrection, make all of us casualties and victims of man's inhumanity to man. Let me share some excerpts from this remarkable poem that should be taught to everyone, even as some people still hold romantic notions towards armed conflicts. The casualties. The casualties are not only those who are dead, they are well out of it. The casualties are not only those who are wounded, though they await burial by installment. The casualties are not only those who have lost persons or properties, hard as it is. The casualties are not only those who started a fire and now cannot put it out. Thousands are burning that had no say in the matter. The casualties are not only those who, escaping the shattered shell, become prisoners in a fortress of falling walls. The casualties are many and a good number, well outside the scenes of ravage and wreck. They are emissaries of rift, so smug in smoke rooms they hunt abroad. They do not see the funeral piles at home eating up the forest. The drums overwhelm the guns. Caught in a clash of counterclaims and charges, when not in the niche others have left, we fall, all casualties of the war, because we cannot hear each other speak, because eyes have ceased to see the face from the crowd, because whether we know or do not know the extent of wrong on all sides, we are characters now other than before the war began. They stay at home unsettled by taxes and rumors, the looters for office and wares, fearful every day the owners may return. We are all casualties, all sagging as are the cases celebrated for Kwashiorkor, the unforeseen camp followers of not just our war. In the Casualty, it's so obvious that the clamor for war, for violence, for insurrection, we no go gree. We must. At the end of the day, when all has been said and done, and we take to the streets to exhibit our strength, we lose. We all have the ringside seat to the after effects of violence. I use violence in place of war, in place of insurrection, because when people are hurt, when properties are lost, all of us bear the brunt of things that we had no say in, directly or indirectly. In the Casualties, we have seen the picture written in words that describe so eloquently how the people who go in for these meetings come out, they do not agree, and they say, okay, let the streets determine. But they are not there. They do not see the piles of bodies. In recent times, some of us that are saying, please let us talk, let us embrace dialogue, are looked upon as people who are lily-livered. The young people come out and say, oh, the older ones in our generation, they are just sitting. They don't even feel as if they're anything. They just leave it for us young people to fight. I told a young man recently, I said, my uncle was 15 years old when he fought in the Biafran War. 15. There was no social media for him to write. They were taken into the forest. And till today, at 72, he is still traumatized from what he saw during the Biafran War. Because when Ojukwu and Gowon would not agree, we remember the famous statement, "On Aburi we stand, no going back." Thousands of people lost their lives because communication failed. The words we were using were so heavy, heavily laden with hate, with vitriol, that we could not call back. The words had gone on the streets and set destruction in motion. So I am telling, now that history is coming back to school, that poems such as this should be taught to young people. Members in the House, the government official should read this poem and know what happens when dialogue fails, when you refuse to do your part, when corruption becomes the order of the day and the people on the other side will say, "We no go gree." But I am begging one and all that let us come together as Nigerians and fix these problems. It is better to talk than to war. They say it's better to jaw than to war. So please, I'm leaving us with this. Let's always opt for peace and dialogue. Let's eschew words that are inflammatory, because it's only in peace that we can enjoy freedom as a nation. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Till I come your way next time, let's enjoy some of Onyeka Onwenu's One Love.
Everybody has a day when the sun stays away. Take heart in a new tomorrow. A little more love between makes for a brighter day. Never need worry, let one love set you free. One love, keep us together. Living in a world, it's a struggle just staying alive. One love, us together, living in a world, it's a struggle just staying alive. Somebody tell me, oh, why never fight it? One love can set us free if we just let it be. Take heart in a brand new day. Good love is all we need to take the clouds away. Never need worry if you just let it be. One love, keep us together. Living in a world, it's a struggle just staying alive. One love, keep us together. Living in a world, it's a struggle just staying alive. Let one love set you free.
reforms introduced and implemented by the Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu-led administration are aimed at streamlining business development processes and building investors' confidence in the state's economy. And the Sanwo-Olu's government has been proactive in implementing business-friendly regulations and constantly reviewing ease of doing business policies to lessen challenges associated with new business registration and obtaining permits. The digitalization of services has equally eliminated bureaucratic bottlenecks while enhancing stability in the business environment, demonstrating a new push for an aggressive investment inflow to boost Lagos State's economic growth. This is a Greater Lagos vision. Lagos is indeed rising. I am Love Oyedoku. Welcome.
This is Lagos, the heartbeat of Nigeria, a city steeped in rich cultural heritage and now poised to become a global financial center.
We're at a Lock Mayor's show, and it's an opportunity for us to just depict what Lagos is all about. And it's only at an event like this, competing with other bigger cities and other nations, that you can get to tell your story. So it's storytelling time for us.
In a historic moment, Lagos made its inaugural appearance at the renowned Lord Mayor's show in London, a testament to its growing economic prominence.
Lagos is a big mega city on its own right now. It's the largest city in Africa. It's the biggest economy that is a sub-national in Africa. But we want to make it one of the international financial centers in the world. All we're trying to do is to be able to let the world know that Lagos is indeed ready for bigger business.
Lagos isn't just open for business. It's a gateway to the future, embracing innovation and welcoming investors from around the globe. We invite the world to witness Lagos's dynamism, progress, and the myriad of opportunities available for transformative, groundbreaking projects.
Lagos is indeed ready to take over the world in the financial space, in the economic space, and to truly really be able to tell both the Lagos, the Nigerian, and the African story, and be able to let other parts of the world know who we are, understand our culture, understand that we're the center of culture, entertainment, music in the whole of Africa, and to also be able for people to know what we have to give to the world.
So the whole idea, right, is for us to be able to let the world, get them to know what is happening in Lagos. But GDP of Lagos is actually bigger than the GDP of Kenya, it's bigger than Ghana, it's bigger than Rwanda, and it's bigger than Senegal. As a little sub-national, it's very big in how it stands, in how it sits, and it's all of that conversation that we think a lot of people need to know what is happening in Lagos, and how we can use the Lagos story, to sort of like tell the African story.
On this episode, Ease of Doing Business, Governor Sanwo-Olu meets investors, guarantees returns on investments. Unemployment, Governor Sanwo-Olu calls for collaboration with stakeholders to tackle trends. Health insurance plan, Sanwo-Olu launches Ilera Eco Standard Jara. Details of these and many more when we return. Please don't touch the dial. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has met with over 200 local and international investors at a pre-summit investors roundtable in anticipation of the 3rd African Social Impact Summit, ASIS 3.0. The event held in Victoria Island featured investment presentations, a question and answer session, interactive sessions, roundtable discussions, and deal rooms for prospective investors ready to sign memorandum of understanding and partnership agreements with the state government. Tagged Opportunity Made in Lagos, the event was aimed at highlighting investable projects in Lagos, particularly in health, arts, culture, creative economy, technology, agriculture, infrastructure, transportation, and telecommunications sector. The event brought together a diverse array of stakeholders, including investors, policymakers, trade organizations, financial executives, industry leaders, and business experts. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu told the forum that the state is projecting a positive economic outlook driven by its growing population and the development of sustainable infrastructure to spur growth.
Anybody can do, as a leader, is not to improve whatever, environment he found himself in. So for us in Lagos, we've been a bit lucky. We've seen, consistent growth in our leadership profile, and the minimum we can do here is to ensure that we take that growth into a level that is enviable, and so we are completely committed at ensuring that we do not reverse the trajectory of the consistent and continuous growth that we've seen in the state. In the last 5 years, like we've said, we've seen our GDP grow by almost 50%, and so it is to make sure that we can continually, encourage, even in very difficult times, our investors to be able to have the conversations of de-risking, what could be their issues, what could be their concerns, and being able to give them that comfort, and that enabling, environment and assurance that whatever it is that they invest as a government will continue to play our own role and will ensure that, the investments are not only secured, but they can also be guaranteed of some, minimum return that would encourage and ensure that they stay around us. And doing this for us is not anything out of this. It's the minimum that we'll expect, that we should be guided with, or we should be gauged, about, and we will continue to do that. We know that Mr. President, he's equally committed. We can tell you that, clearly. He's equally committed, and we know that with everything that he has, he's pushing, to ensure that the country as a whole come out of whatever, economic woes we find ourselves right now. And the least we can do is for us to encourage him, is for us to work with him, and realize the countrywide, global growth strategy, that he has set for us. And so, that's what we're doing here, and that's what we're about.
The managing director of Sterling Bank, Abubakar Suleiman, said the summit meeting aimed to boost investor confidence in local markets and foster a business climate of greater trust.
The most critical thing for investing is that you have to be able to forecast what the future would look like. The moment you are no longer able to determine what the immediate future will look like, let alone the distant future, you are not going to invest. And that comes from, one, policies, right? You've got to have policy environment where there's predictability, there's clarity. And I think Lagos has done a pretty decent job of providing policy environment. The other thing that then comes with that is, even if there's policy, will it be consistently applied? Would it be applied to every investor in the same way? Again, very important that you can estimate that the policy affects everyone in the same way. But ultimately, it comes down to there has to be a level of respect between government and the investor community. Because in the absence of respect, the communication that would lead to the building of trust will not exist. So I like that Lagos State continues to convene, continues to come in for events like the Africa Social Impact Summit, and of course bring in all the critical stakeholders, their commissioners, the head of agencies, and we have brought in the investors leading to this conversation. So yes, without respect, there is no trust. Without trust, there is no investment.
what I'm taking home is the fact that you can trust Lagos for continuity. So if you're investing in Lagos, there's a continuity plan. So in a lot of climes you invest, and much later when the particular government is over and done, policy somersault, there's no continuity. But if you're investing in Lagos, you're convinced that the continuity plan is already in place to ensure that even after this government is over and done, the policies that are in place can support your businesses and allow your businesses thrive. That's my take home from today. Continuity, trust. Lagos is building trust in the hearts of investors. And of course, communication. Lagos is trying as much as it can to communicate the opportunities it has to the world, to Africa, to West Africa, and then bringing people together to review these opportunities directly from critical stakeholders, in the governor's cabinet. And Lagos, to a reasonable extent, on a scorecard of 100, Lagos is 80% secure, comparable to other states, other climes across West Africa. Lagos is one of the most secure cities, one of the most secure locations in West Africa and in Africa. So for a state that's as secure as Lagos, investment is safe. It's necessary for investors to come in. And then you look at connectivity. Some of the biggest technology companies in West Africa, some of the biggest technology companies in Africa are situated in Lagos. So if you're looking at connectivity, your businesses cannot thrive in a modern day world, in the 21st century, without proper connectivity. And Lagos has the right connectivity. Lagos has the biggest tech companies across West Africa located in here. Then for investments to thrive, you also look at an infrastructure. The infrastructure, road networks, rail networks, the governor spoke extensively about water transportation, our water networks, our road, our rails, electricity, our ports. Lagos has some of the biggest ports in West Africa and in Africa. They are all functional. They are all working. So these are some of the indices that people look at, investors look at, companies look at to put in money in any economy. And people talk about, the fluctuation in foreign exchange rates. That is a circumstance that's to a reasonable extent beyond the control of Lagos State. It's a global, I wouldn't say it's a global, I would say it's a countrywide, it's a nationwide problem. Even if you're not dealing with Nigeria, you're thinking about investing in other climes across West Africa, they also have their own challenges, which might not necessarily be, fluctuation in currency exchange rates, but there are other challenges that exist. So to a reasonable extent, Lagos has a lot of its challenges under control. And like we've always said, investors would always get their return on investment if they come to Lagos.
It's about time that we see a lot of philanthropic, long tenure development, investment in our environment. It's not about us today. It's about building for another 20, 30, 40 years. That should be part of a call that we have now. And it's only when you have this kind of committed investment that you can see that there will not be reversal, into the growth trajectory of your environment. And that's what we're doing.
Sanwo-Olu highlighted promising investment opportunities in transportation, tourism, health insurance, and waterways, affirming the state government's commitment to advancing ambitious development plans for these key sectors. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has reaffirmed his administration's unwavering commitment to the Themes Plus development agenda, which aims to create an enabling environment for businesses to grow and thrive in Lagos State. The governor stated this in his keynote address at the 9th Lagos Corporate Assembly. Gathered in this hall are members of Lagos State's business community, comprising chief executive officers, CEOs, captains of industry, and leaders of business membership organizations for the 9th edition of the annual BOS Meets Business Community event themed Unpacking Barriers to Ease of Doing Business, Accelerating Business Growth. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu was represented by his deputy, Hamzat Obafemi. He commended the resilience of the business community despite the current global economic challenges confronting their operations.
In the implementation of this agenda, we have initiated numerous policy reforms to facilitate business operations in Lagos. We are simplifying regulatory processes, improving infrastructure, and leveraging technology to streamline interaction between businesses and government agencies. Our goal, therefore, is to minimize bureaucratic blockages and create a seamless experience for all businesses operating in our state. A case in point was when the Ministry of Commerce, Cooperative Trade and Investment, in collaboration with the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, PEBEC, worked to align the interests of a state agency with those of a platinum PEBEC member. I'm sure they know the company involved. This initiative facilitated a mutually benefiting working relationship by bringing both parties to the negotiating tables. As a government, we see this assembly as a crucial platform for public-private dialogue, where we collectively identify challenges, discuss solutions, and chart a course for sustainable economic growth and development. This is because we understand and recognize the power of stakeholder engagement and the importance of providing a listening ear to the business communities. Our resolve is to make this assembly a formidable platform for public-private collaboration, ensuring that your voices are heard and your concerns are addressed promptly. We are determined to turn the feedback we receive from you into actionable policies that will further ease the business environment in the state. Dear guests, I must commend the resilience of the business community despite the numerous challenges earlier highlighted, including the current global economic downturns confronting the operations. We have continued to innovate, adapt, and contribute significantly to the growth of our state. Your tenacity and entrepreneurial spirit are the bedrock upon which Lagos' economic success is built. So I assure you of our continued support as our administration is unreservedly committed to providing the necessary resources, infrastructure, and policies that will ensure your businesses not only survive but thrive. We will continue to engage with you, listen to your needs, and implement reform that will foster an environment necessary for your businesses to grow. Therefore, we assure you of our commitment to incorporating your feedback into our policy formulation and regulatory review, because this is the oil that builds our common and collective progress. So as we gather here together, let us all reaffirm our collective commitment to overcoming the barriers to ease doing business in our state.
Commissioner, Ministry of Commerce, Cooperatives, Trade and Investment, Folashade Ambrose Modibem, spoke on steps taken by the ministry to ensure a conducive environment is in place for businesses to thrive in Lagos State.
Cooperatives, Trade and Investment, MCCTI, is in the process of constituting an ease of doing business team that will be tasked with interfacing with stakeholders in the business community via a one-stop shop virtual interface. This will be technology-driven to meet the demand of the highly digitized local and global investors community. The virtual one-stop shop interface will be enabled with robust connectivity to strategic global business gateways and to enhance the state of the global business communities. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as the nation's commercial hub and economic powerhouse, we recognize that a wholesome operating environment is key to job creation, poverty eradication, and overall economic development. I, along with all my colleagues, am more than confident that the present administration, under the able leadership of Mr. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and Mr. Deputy Governor Dr. Kadri Obafemi Hamzat, will stop at nothing to sustain and further build on the current milestones achieved. We will continue to build on the major drivers of the state's economy, increasing the contributions of the manufacturing sector, road transportation, building construction, wholesale and retail, telecommunications, financial institutions, and real estate. As an implementing ministry, MCCTI will continue to interface with other ministries, departments, and agencies here in the state, across other states of the Federation and at the federal level, including relevant local, international institutions alike. We will continue to collaborate with bilateral and multilateral chambers of commerce and industry to achieve and sustain the objectives of having an enabling environment, where doing business in Lagos will be much more easier.
As in the tradition, participants had ample opportunity to get responses to some burning issues bogging their minds.
We tend to believe the governor promised that the 4th mainland bridge will commence February this year. This is July. Is government telling us the truth?
The 4th mainland bridge will build through PPP, public-private partnership. So, And I don't know if you followed it. It was advertised internationally and locally. About, I think, 15 companies bidded. It was narrowed down to one. So the preferred bidder, of course, the secondary bidder. That was not even done by Lagos State government for transparency. So our financial people, I think, was Pikmawick or something. Our lawyers were Lani Ajayi. So we got private sector to look at the sector. Okay, so the process is ongoing, but so they need to also raise finance.
The government's unwavering commitment to improving the ease of doing business in Lagos State was reaffirmed during the day's engagements, which reverberated as a clear message. And in line with this administration's commitment to providing quality, affordable, and efficient healthcare services for Lagos residents, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has launched the Ilera Eco Standard Jara Health Insurance Scheme. The governor also commissioned 5 Ilera Eco virtual booths installed across the state to improve healthcare across for the informal sector, including market vendors, artisans, and other grassroots stakeholders. Speaking at an event, Governor Sanwo-Olu stated that these new initiatives mark a significant milestone in health insurance for Lagos State and Nigeria. He assured residents that his administration will continue to introduce policies and reforms to make healthcare more accessible and affordable. Governor Sanwo-Olu urged the informal sector, which makes up to 70% of Lagos State's population, to take advantage of the new Ilera Eco health initiatives and enroll. This, he said, will help the high out-of-pocket costs and medical bills that many residents face. Governor Sanwo-Olu recently signed an executive order to bolster the new health initiatives. He now encourages all Lagos residents to enroll in the Lagos State Health Scheme.
After, the commissioning, and you've heard all of the stories of what it's been doing in the various communities, these booths are designed to bring healthcare closer to the people and to expand the reach of Lashman's health insurance scheme, Ilera Eco, across the state. It is particularly useful for hardworking market men and women who usually find it difficult to leave their stores or their shops, to leave behind their wares, or to take, a long trip to our various hospitals or our primary health facilities, even when they're sick. They will now have this first-line health service in different informal businesses and clusters around. They will now have this next to them. I urge you to protect and maintain these facilities for the use of the community. I also want to call on other LGAs and LCD to support Lashman by facilitating the installation of more V-booths in these areas.
Oluwakemi Ogunyemi, the special advisor to the governor on health, commended the Sanwo-Olu administration's commitment to health initiatives, emphasizing Lagos State's dedication to the lives and well-being of its citizens.
So we have included things like eye surgery. Cancer is now up to 5 million if you are under the scheme. We have increased the days of admission. We have added more diagnostic services and drugs. You will see that when we present today, it is a very, very robust plan, and it's still very affordable for the price that we are asking Lagosians to pay. Even though we have the number, I think the pensioners are about 30,000 plus or thereabouts. We are currently in all the local governments, all 57 of them, registering them onto the scheme, and we are going to provide healthcare for them free of charge for 1 year. So the equity fund is going to serve the purpose.
That's all we have for you on this episode of the Greater Lagos Vision on Plus TV Africa. I'm Love Ikuku Oyedoku. Bye for now.
is defined as an infectious disease that is caused by ingestion of food and water contaminated with the bacterium Vibrio cholerae. It usually occurs as diarrhea, dehydration, and may lead to death if left untreated. Cholera was first discovered in 1854 by an Italian physician, Philip Pacini, during an outbreak in Florence, Italy. Also, record shows that cholera was detected by Robert Koch, a physician and microbiologist in India in 1883. In Nigeria, since its first appearance in 1972, intermittent outbreaks have been occurring. The later part of 2010 was marked with a widespread in the northern part of Nigeria, spreading to the other parts, and involving approximately 3,000 cases and 781 deaths. Unlike many other infectious diseases, cholera persists as a huge public health problem worldwide, even where there are accessible and effective methods for its prevention and treatment. The main reasons for its persistence are socioeconomic, since cholera thrives in unhygienic conditions and environments with a reputation of already fragile sanitation, especially in overcrowded areas. The major symptoms of cholera are diarrhea, nausea and vomiting, dehydration, muscle cramps, and shock. To prevent being infected with cholera, you should provide safe water, basic sanitation, and maintain adequate hygiene practices. If infected, the first aid treatment to assist the sufferer, if medical professionals are not readily available, is to get oral rehydration solution to replace lost fluids and electrolytes. Without rehydration, approximately half of the people infected with cholera will die. Severe cases need rapid treatments with intravenous fluids and antibiotics, which are to be recommended and administered by medical experts. There is currently an increase of cholera outbreak in Nigeria, and the Lagos State government declared a cholera outbreak on the 9th of June 2024. 3 suspected cases of cholera have been reported respectively in neighbouring Oyo and Ogun states. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, reported that as of 11th of June 2024, 1,141 suspected cholera cases had been recorded across 30 states in Nigeria, including Bayelsa, Lagos, Abia, Cross River, Delta, and Imo, with some situated further north, Katsina, Nasarawa, and Zamfara states. United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF, says Nigeria must prevent spread in schools. With the intervention of all relevant bodies, individuals also have a relevant role to play. Prevention is better and cheaper than cure. Here are a few prevention tips. Drink and use safe water. Flush or bury poop. Wash and peel raw fruits with clean hands. Also, cook food thoroughly. Thoroughly clean toilets and surfaces contaminated with poop. Remember, health is wealth. Stay safe.
The family, they say, is the smallest unit of the society, and whatever affects the family rubs off on the society. What are the effects of a dysfunctional family? What really is a dysfunctional family? And what are the dangers of a dysfunctional family to the society? This is what our guests will be talking about today on the show. Welcome to Regardless, an anti-drug abuse TV series put together by Christ Against Drug Abuse Ministry, CADAM, a faith-based NGO under the auspices of the Redeemed Christian Church of God that is at the forefront of the fight against drug abuse. Louisa Olani is my name. Welcome on board. But as always, we take you through the case study for today, and then we come back to delve straight into the issue. Stay tuned.
Good afternoon, Mom.
Welcome again.
Thank you, Mom. Mom, you have a really beautiful home.
Thank you.
Yes, Mom.
I hope you didn't find it difficult finding this place.
Oh, no, not at all. When is Uncle coming back?
Anytime soon.
Oh, okay.
Are you sure you don't want to eat anything?
Oh, no, Mommy, I'm fine.
You know this is your home too as well, yeah?
Yes, Mommy.
Oh, that's him.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm fine.
And how's everybody?
Fine.
Welcome.
Ah, brother.
Welcome, sir.
How are you?
I'm fine, sir.
I had no idea you were coming.
Yes, it wasn't planned. I had no one else to run to.
Run to. What happened?
My mother had an accident.
Jesus Christ. When?
2 nights ago.
I just hope it's not anything serious.
Uncle, it's been 3 years now. And not even a phone call from you.
I wanted to get in touch, but...
But what?
The last time I saw my stepsister, she rained abuses on me over a minor family issue. Do I deserve that kind of a treatment? Do I?
I guess that justifies it then.
I'm not trying to justify anything.
She
but
fell into a ditch.
Was it dark?
It doesn't have to be. She was intoxicated.
No, this one is not making any sense to me. No. I don't know Titi to be an alcoholic. No.
My mother is an alcoholic.
What?
Yes. You see, you didn't know what I had to go through. What I had to put up.
Hello. We had a little misunderstanding last night. But his phone has switched off. Please, I beg you in the name of God, if you see my husband, tell him to come back home, please. The kids are worried. Okay? Thank you.
But Mommy, how could he just leave?
He won't leave. He will come back. I know your father.
And if he doesn't?
He will. He won't abandon his family. And please, enough with this, your negativity. Just leave my front.
Mom.
Go!
Mom. Mom, wake up.
What is it? What is it?
I need you to go lie down inside. Please.
Why? Why?
Femi and Benga will be home anytime soon.
So?
I don't want them meeting you like this. Besides, where have you been?
Dora, what gave you the right to wake me up from my sleep?
Mom, you were passed out drunk.
So? Because you have started hanging around these stupid boys on the estate, you think you are the same level, Abby? Think you are the same level? I don't blame you. I would have walked away the way your father go. I have just left.
You're the reason he left.
What did you just say?
Yes. I still remember everything you put him through.
So he has gotten to this. You not talk back at me.
Mom, you know what I'm saying, it's the truth. Everybody knows it.
You not talk back at me, Dora.
Mom, please just sit down.
Dora, you push me. Your own mother, Dora. You all know it's been tough since your father left. I've tried all my possible means. I think it has gotten to a point where we'll start contributing.
Contributing? How?
When the school resumes next time, your brother here is not going back to school.
And that's not going to happen. I dropped out of school, so he don't and won't have to.
Things are harder now, so there's nothing I can do.
But mommy.
Not just but mommy, me, dear Femi. Go outside and see what your mates are doing. I think you're a child. Go outside and see what your mates are doing. Just keep head like your father.
Mommy, if he drops out of school now, what will he be doing?
You can go and learn a work now, or you go for apprentice. My own is first for you to bring in income.
What kind of a mother are you?
The kind that have done everything she has to do for her children. Or do you people want me to kill myself for you? Eh? Please, I'm going out too.
Don't mind what mommy is saying. You're not dropping out of school, and I'll make sure of it.
Okay, I'm going out, so I will see you people later when I come back.
Good morning, Mom.
Dora. Come.
Yes, Mom.
Dora, turn.
Why?
Dora, turn. Let me take a closer look at you. You are pregnant.
Pregnant? Me. When her suspicions were confirmed, she chased me out of the house. So I had to go stay with friends. I sought out ways to cater for my brothers, whom she abandoned. 2 days ago, I got a call from a neighbor that she fell into the ditch when coming back from the bar. She's still in coma.
Honey, we just have to do something about it.
I am so sorry.
Wow, what a little mistake can cost the family. Hope you enjoyed that clip. And like I mentioned earlier on, we're talking dysfunctional family today. And I've been joined in the studio by a certified relationship coach, an experienced educationist that has about over 25 years experience, dealing with issues like this. She's also an ordained pastor in the Redeemed Christian Church of God. Ladies and gentlemen, join me to make welcome none other than the delectable and cerebral Mrs. Olabisi Ibitayo. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. For a moment there, I wasn't sure if it was me you were introducing or there was somebody else here in the studio with us. Thank you. It's such a pleasure for me to be here. I really feel honored to be here.
Yeah, it's you and just you. I mean, you're doing a whole lot within this space, and it's only proper that we seek your counsel and, of course, some of the experiences you've had within counseling when it comes to families. But let's start first and foremost with your take on that video.
My take on the video, first I'd like to commend what Kedam is doing, like I said, and it's amazing, and I can imagine how many lives are being transformed by what they do. The video, for anyone who watched, is a very pathetic one. It makes my heart bleed in the sense that it's obvious that family is dysfunctional. There's so many things wrong. A cocktail of issues. A father who's not there, but a father who before he left had issues with his wife, a woman who didn't know how to solve her problem and so resorted to alcohol, a young girl who had to grow into shoes that were not exactly her fit. And so everything for me in that video was just so off, really.
So how would they have dealt with the issue differently? Let's take each party concerning that video one after the other, from the mother to the girl and then to the guy.
You know, a lot of times it's very easy for us to sit back and judge a situation and assume that there are better ways to have handled it. But looking at that and listening to all parties there, I believe the man walked away. I don't know whatever it was, because like the girl said, the mother was always nagging him. And so he got tired of the nagging. So I probably think maybe the wife shouldn't have nagged so much to the point that she drove him away. But then I'm asking myself, what exactly was he doing that was making her nag? So I see both parties not sitting down to talk about the challenges they were having in their marriage. And so I see a lack of communication, a lack of openness, a lack of like, this is what you do that I don't feel comfortable with. And so it probably went on many years. And after a while, the guy was just like, come on, I've had enough of this. What else should the wife have done differently, the mother have done differently? Definitely not taken to alcohol, because that obviously messed up her mind, and she just couldn't think rationally. She couldn't fit into the position of being the mother, the leader in the home. And of course, we all know, alcohol messed her up to the point that she became an alcoholic. So that was wrong. She shouldn't have done that. Also, for the girl, poor girl, my heart really went out to that one. And there's so many of them out there, painfully and sadly so. There's so many youths who are being forced to take on roles that are not exactly theirs. They're being forced to become the adults that they're not ready for. They're being forced to take on responsibilities of paying school fees. You heard her there. She said she had to drop out of school. I mean, how bad could it get, really? And so I saw a pained girl, really, trying to act maturely, but she wasn't exactly doing the right thing. So it was a cocktail of the father, the mother, and the child not handling the situation the right way.
Now, let's come to what you do. Some people have issues in their family. They come up there and then feel all of the, nice family, but deep down, it's eating them. And we also have this issue of if someone comes to talk, people look down and want to judge them. How do counsellors ensure that people trust them to come to talk to them? And are there cases or helplines, so to speak, where families can run to without fear of getting intimidated or talked down or even regretting going in the first place?
Okay, let me share this with you. I was at a program a few days ago. I was the speaker there. It was a marriage talk, making your marriage talk work. And I said something. I said, it's essential for us in our relationships, whatever the relationship is, work-related, marriage, whatever, to always seek prayerfully professional help or people who can assist. And then somebody in the audience got up and raised her hand, and she said to me, she said, I stopped asking for help the day the pastor in my former church got up and started preaching about my situation. Did you hear that? I mean, it's on YouTube. You can Google it. It's there. It's on YouTube.
But he never mentioned her name.
Yes, he never mentioned her name. But she said to me, because I asked those questions, she said to me he wasn't bringing it up to make people learn from. She said he said it in a scornful way, as if I was foolish in my reaction. Right. And so I say to myself, why would people clam up in their relationships? Because people like you and I would definitely stigmatize them. Because people like you and I, even though we have our own issues burning under our skirts, will always give the impression that our homes and our marriages are perfect, our relationships are perfect, our children are perfect. And so what that does is it cages individuals who would really want to shout out for help. We don't have so much of even our spiritual leaders. I'd like to hear a pastor come on stage and say to me, these are the issues I'm having with my wife in marriage, but these are the ways. But when we come up and we so sugarcoat everything about our relationships, it gives the impression that everybody else's life but yours is fine. And so what happens? I try to cover my head in shame. I bury my head in sand. I don't want anybody to hear. And ultimately also, talking about the youth here, that's why a lot of parents whose children are dealing with drugs, whose children are having issues, will never come out to talk. Why? Because we all assume that every other person's child is perfect. And so you just think it's yours only. Someone said to me when she took her child to rehab, when she got there, she was amazed at the caliber of people whose children were having challenges, doing drugs as well. And so I think if the society could just stop being judgmental, we will have more people speak about their situations, and people would be able to help them also.
So true. We all have our issues. I mean, they'll tell you every other family have their stuff, bothering them. It's only the ones that come out to speak that you know. But I mean, don't resort to drugs or alcohol to solve any problem. That's my take home from there. We'll take a break at this point. When we return, we'll delve straight to what really is a dysfunctional family and what are the causes of dysfunctional family in the 21st century and how detrimental are dysfunctional families to the society. It's still regardless. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
My name is Olabisi Ibitayo, and an ordained minister in the Redeemed Christian Church of God. I'm a certified relationship coach, and I have a passion for family. I have a passion for homes. And I believe strongly that we can make families work. We can make our marriages work. We can bring our children right, that they don't become burdens to us as we grow old. Let's do what is right. Let's teach them. Let's train them. Let's be there for them. Let's be there for ourselves in our relationships. And I promise you, where there's intimidation, a place where there's so much uncertainty of what you're going to meet next, a place of physical abuse, both parents or the children, a place of emotional abuse. You know,
how dawned on them before she eventually
fixated on that. And so she's saying to herself,
just me
the
and my
third
family.
party mustn't hear what I'm going through. The third party, can I say this to
At
every
what
woman
point can
and
the
man
third
out
party
there?
be
The person who can help.